Well, good evening and welcome back to another episode of Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore. I'm your host, Drifter Ray, and tonight I think let's go to Entrana and start to explore some of the lore of Saradomin. In the last episode, we talked to the wise old man who told us that Entrana is the land of Saradomin. So let me make sure I don't have anything that could be considered a weapon on me, because then I would be able to go there. And I'm going to use my Ring of Dueling to go to Castle Wars. And you might know what that means. I'm running north to the balloon transport system. And I'm going to use the basket of the balloon and travel to Entrana. The assistant says, weapons are not allowed on Entrana. I must search you first. You are quickly searched. And they didn't find any weapons, so I'm now on Entrana. Let's go directly into the church here and talk to the high priest. And there they are, the high priest. High priest says, many greetings. Welcome to our fair island. Enjoy your stay here. May it be spiritually uplifting. That's it? That is it. Alright, well now I'm going to talk to the monks here. Monk says, greetings, traveler. I'm going to say, isn't this place built a bit out of the way? We like it that way, actually. We get disturbed less. We still get a rather large amount of travelers looking for sanctuary and healing here as it is. And there was one other option. I can say, can you heal me? I'm injured. Monk says, okay. So I imagine if I had not had full health points that they would have healed me up and probably helped me out there. Let's talk to the monk of Entrana by the docks. They say, do you wish to leave Holy Entrana? I'm going to say, not just yet. Alright, let's talk to Francis, who's the monk by the hops patch. And Francis, I can ask, just, can you tell me something? Oh, can you sell me something? What's it that you're looking for? Okay, that's just a shop. I can talk to Francis about farming advice. Francis says, bitter cat mushrooms can only be grown in a special patch in Mauritania near the Mortmire Swamp. There, the ground is especially dank and suited to growing poisonous fungi. Fungi had two eyes. I don't know if that's how you spell fungi, but I'm going to talk to Frinkos in the building just north of here. Frinkos says, hello, can I help you? I'm going to say, what are you selling? That's a shop. I can also ask Frinkos. I can also say, you can't help me. I'm beyond help. Okay, and then outside there's Mazian. So let's talk to Mazian. Please leave me alone. A parrot stole my banana. Let's talk to Fritz the Glassblower. Hello, adventurer. Welcome to the Entrana Furnace. Would you like me to explain my craft to you? When I say yes, please, I'd be fascinated to hear what you do. I'm extremely pleased to hear that. I've always wanted an apprentice. Let me talk you through the secrets of glass blowing. Glass is made from soda ash and silica. We get our soda ash by collecting seaweed from the rocks. The prevailing currents make the northwest corner of the island the best place to find it. It can also be found in your net sometimes when you're fishing, on Scrounge Island or at the Pescadores fishing colony and the nets there. To turn seaweed into soda ash, all you need to do is burn it on a fire. Feel free to use the range in my house for that. It's the one directly west of here. Next, we collect sand from the sand pit that you'll also find just west of here. There are others located in Yanil and Shiloh Village. You'll need a bucket to carry them. Tell you what, you can have this old one of mine. Bring the sand and soda ash back here and melt them together in the furnace, and there you have it, molten glass. There are many things you can use the molten glass for once you have made it. Depending on how talented you are, you could try turning it into something like a fishbowl, for example. If you'd like to try your hand at the fine art of glass blowing, you can use my spare glass blowing pipe. I think I left it on the chest of drawers in my house this morning. Alternatively, I'm always happy to buy the molten glass from you. Saves me running about making it for myself. I say, that sounds good. How much will you pay me? Tell you what, because you've been interested in my art, I'll pay you the premium price of 20 gold pieces for each piece of molten glass you bring me. So let's go into the house, and, we haven't found any Saradomin lore yet, but maybe in the house there'll be something upstairs. No, not really anything up here. I can search the bookcase, but I don't think there's any books. Search the books, find nothing to interest you. Well, let's talk to the person who's at the balloon, where we got here from. The balloon landing site on Entrana. August says, wow, that is an interesting chat head. It looks a little bit like higher fidelity than the others, in kind of a weird way. Do you want to use the balloon? Just so you know, some locations require special logs and high fire-making skills. I'm going to say, could you tell me how to make an origami balloon? First, use papyrus on the ball of wool. The papyrus is folded into an origami box and the yarn will support the heat source. Next, add the unlit candle to the balloon structure. It will act as a heat source. Now you have an origami balloon. If you use your origami balloon with any dye, you can change the color. You can release the balloon and watch it float in the air. Just use a tinderbox on it. The wise old man basically referred us to this island because it's the place of Saradomin, but this is another instance where we're not really getting a lore dump by talking to people who are followers. We're just talking to them about other things. What else could be in this island? There's a farm right here. Who's in there? And there's a mysterious ruins that looks like a rune crafting altar. Okay, so that's where you make law runes. Okay. I could take a kebab off the table. There's shelves here, but it's storage shelves. And then there's the dungeon down below. I guess we might as well run down there. But I'm thinking the start here is a bit of a dud. Let's talk to the cave monk right above the ladder. Be careful going in there. You are unarmed and there is much evilness lurking down there. The evilness seems to block off your contact with our God, so our prayers seem to have less effect down there. Oh, also, you won't be able to come back this way. This ladder only goes one way. Well, that doesn't make any sense. The only exit from the caves below is a portal which leads only to the deepest wilderness. I'm going to say, well, that is a risk I will have to take. It's probably because if there's monster drops, they might give you a weapon, and they can't be having you bringing weapons up onto Entrana. I don't think I've really ever been down here. Oh, it's right next to the Taverley dungeon. Okay. Oh, and this is where the Drayman tree is. I've been down here before. I just forgot. Must have been how I got my Drayman staff. Wow. The Drayman tree is like covered in rotating rings of blue kind of light and surrounded by sparkling white lights. Let's examine it. An ancient magical tree. Alright, and then I think over here is the exit that goes to the wilderness. Open magic door. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. A lot of things, because I'm in the wilderness now, a lot of things like the levers and stuff that go to the wilderness warn you that you're going to go to the wilderness, but this one did not. It just brought me right into level 32 wilderness, and I think I can't teleport from that high. I think I have to be below level 25, or below level 20 wilderness. Oh, here's an int. It says he ain't such a bad guy. Okay, so that's another place you can find ints, not just in the new update. I forgot about that too. black unicorns, and now we're below level 20 wilderness. Let's go to our house. Alright, well, we were able to get out pretty easily without being in too much danger. Okay. Well, that was Intrana. That was over quicker than I thought it would be. Let's see. What does the wiki say? Who follows Saradomin? Okay, the Wizards of the Wizard's Tower. So I'll grab my Necklace of Passage, and we will head there. And maybe some of them will talk about Saradomin. Necklace of Passage. I'll get rid of my kebab in this bucket I got from the glass blower. And let's go to the Wizard's Tower. I can't talk to any of the basic wizards, the generic ones here. Let's talk to Professor Onglewhip, who looks to be a gnome. Do you live here too? Oh no, I come from the gnome stronghold. I've been sent here by King Narno to learn about human magics. So where's this gnome stronghold? It's in the northwest of the continent, a long way away. You should visit us there sometime. The food's great and the company's delightful. I'll try and make time for it. Sounds like a nice place. Well, it's full of gnomes. How much nicer could it be? Alright. I think I talked to them in the Temple of the Eye minigame, or quest that leads you to the Guardians of the Rift minigame. Okay, these bookshelves are on the list of books, but I don't think we can actually read any of the books from them. It says there's a large selection of books, the majority of which look fairly old. Some very strange names. You pick one at random. 101 Ways to Impress Your Mates with Magic. Interesting. If we search that one again, does it give us the same one? No. So You Think You're a Mage? Volume 28. Interesting. Living with a Wizard Husband, a Housewife's Story. The Life and Times of Thingamywhat by Trayborn the Wizard. Oh, where's Trayborn again? Is Trayborn here? Windstrike for Beginners. How to Become the Ultimate Wizard of the Universe. That's funny because how could there be more than one? Fire, Earth, and Water. What's it all about? So You Think You're a Mage? Volume 28. Alright, now it's starting to repeat them. So, let's see, did we miss any? Another one is The Dark Arts of Magical Wands. And 101 Ways to Impress Your Mates with Magic. Alright, so that's all the books that are available here. Let's go upstairs, and then after that we can go downstairs. Oh, and there is at the entrance of the Wizards Guild, there is a rug that's perpendicular to the door, and it has 3 Saradomin symbols, the stars of Saradomin on it. But now we're 1 level up. Let's talk to Rick on this floor. Hey there. Hello. I'm going to say, who are you? My name is Rick. I'm a wizard student. I used to study magical farming, but I don't like it anymore. Why don't you like it anymore? It's a bit embarrassing, but I got my head swapped with a pumpkin. Luckily, an adventurer came along and helped me get it back in place. That is indeed lucky. I'm going to say, what are you doing here? I'm a student here at the tower. I don't know what I'll do now. Maybe I'll go home to Ardoin, or maybe I'll pick up a new magical field to study. What kind of magical fields are we talking about? Anything but pumpkin fields. That's kind of funny. Okay, and the other things are to do with buying escape crystals from Rick. And now there's a wizard named Wizard Jalarast, who is wearing the magical armor. It's called, split bark armor. Wizard Jalarast says, hello there, can I help you? I'm going to say, what do you do here? I've been studying the practice of making split bark armor. Split bark armor, what's that? Split bark armor is special armor for mages. It's much more resistant to physical attacks than normal robes. It's actually very easy for me to make, but I've been having trouble getting hold of the pieces. I'm going to say, can you make me some? I need bark from a hollow tree and some fine cloth. Unfortunately, both these items can only be found in Mauritania, especially the cloth which is found in the Tombs of Shades. Of course, I'd happily sell you some at a discounted price if you bring me those items. Okay, I guess I'll go looking then. And then, I think there were other talk options here. Nope. Okay, let's talk to... Yes, here's Wizard Treyborn. Hello, young thingamy-what? What's a thingamy-what? A thingamy-what? Where? Those pesky thingamy-whats, they get everywhere. They leave a terrible mess, too. You just called me a thingamy-what. You're a thingamy-what? I never seen one of those up close before. They said I was mad. Now you are proof there are thingamy-whats in this tower. Now where can I find a cage big enough to keep you? They're right, you are mad. That's a pity. I thought maybe they were winding me up. Okay, but what else can we say to Treyborn? I'm going to say, teach me to be a mighty and powerful wizard. Wizard, eh? You don't want any truck with that sword. They're not to be trusted. That's what I've heard anyways. So aren't you a wizard? How dare you? Of course I'm a wizard. Now don't be so cheeky or I'll turn you into a frog. Alright, not much dialogue left with Treyborn. There's a piano here, and when I examine it, it says, I never learned to play. Except I did. Not in the game, but I did spend 8 years learning piano. Don't remember much. Now there's Wizard Mizgog up the next set of stairs. You can buy an amulet from. I don't even remember what amulet that is, because you need the beads for it. I say, do you know any interesting spells you could teach me? I don't think so. The type of magic I study involves years of meditation and research. And the last wizard up here is Wizard Greyzeg, in the room with the lesser demon in a cage. So let's go talk there. So you think finding those beads makes you clever, do you? Must be from the Imp Catcher quest. Well, yes, actually. Well, you'd better just watch your back, because when you least expect it, I'll be there. You shouldn't go sticking your nose into other people's affairs, meddler. You were nicer to me when you had that little gnome wandering around here before. Well, he's not bothering me anymore, is he? And you don't need to bother me either. Alright. Let's go down to the basement and see if there's any lore of Saradomin down there. There's Archmage Cedrador here, next to the portal to Guardians of the Rift. Let's talk to Cedrador. I always liked the plates on this table down here. They are, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of like hexagonal plates, and in the middle of the table there's 3 kind of elongated plates, and they kind of look like jewels or gems just sitting there on the table. It's very nice looking. Hello again, Drifter. What can I do for you? I'm going to say, how are things at the Temple of the Eye? Between the Guardians of the Rift and ourselves, we are managing to keep the Abyss at bay. However, despite all our research, we are no closer to working out how to close the rift permanently. Gaining a better understanding of the artifact that was once there is key, but we have found little mention of this eye. I'm sure the wizards of the first tower had plenty of research on it. After all, they knew enough about it to use its symbol as the symbol for our order. Oh. All that knowledge lost because of those accursed Zamorakians. I don't know if it will be much help, but I found the artifact. It's called the Stone of Jas. You found it? Yes, but it was then stolen by a Majorat called Lucian. That's unfortunate. Having the artifact to study would have been very useful. Still, knowing its name might help. I'll have a dig around and see if we can find any mention of it. Anyway, if you wish to help defend the temple, just head through the portal. Okay, so the Stone of Jas is connected to this too. And I'm going to say, could you tell me more about this old wizard's tower? Here we go. Of course, the first wizard's tower was built at the same time the Order of Wizards was founded. It was at the dawn of the Fifth Age when the secrets of runecrafting were rediscovered. For years, the tower was a hub of magical research. Wizards of all races and religions were welcomed into our order. Alas, that openness is what ultimately led to disaster. The wizards who served Zamorak, the evil god of chaos, tried to claim our magical discoveries in his name. They failed, but in retaliation they burnt the entire tower to the ground. Years of work was destroyed. And that's what the wise old man was saying to us in the last episode. The tower was soon rebuilt, of course, but even now we are still trying to regain knowledge that was lost. That's why I spend my time down here, in fact. This basement is all that is left of the old tower, and I believe there are still some secrets to discover here. Of course, one secret I am no longer looking for is the teleportation incantation to the rune essence mine. We have you to thank for that. I'm going to say thanks for the information. Okay, that's good. That was a good tidbit, because now we understand. Because in the last episode, I was kind of confused when the wise old man said that Zamorakians burned the tower to the ground, because I'm like, it's right there. But then Cedrador here said that it was rebuilt, which makes sense. And I searched the bookshelves down here and did not find anything. There is an altar that I can search it. I don't remember this. Let me go search that altar. See what we find there. Surprisingly, this altar is empty, probably because you took the skull off it earlier. Okay, I must have done that in a quest. Alright, so that is the wizard's tower. Let's go back outside and figure out where to go next. Climbing up the ladder. Running out onto the bridge. Okay, so next I think we should go to Falador, because according to the wiki, a bunch of people and knights in Falador are associated with Saradomin. So let's go teleport there. Maybe we'll start by seeing who we can talk to in Falador Park. I think that's where certification is. On a park bench. Oh yes, right here. So let's talk to him. Hey Tiffy, I lost my calm orb. Very careless of you. Take another. Okay, that's not what I wanted to talk about. Okay, now he says, good day, proselyte. I heard from Acrasay what happened with that Lucian business. Be sure to keep your chin up. We'll get the old boy sooner or later. Thanks, Tiffy. Don't mention it, old bean. Now, is there anything I can do for you? I have news on that assassin who attacked Intrana. Ah, yes, you've been helping out the Ardoin authorities, I hear. You knew? Of course, knowledge is my business, old bean, and it pays to know what's happening across the other kingdoms. Now, as for your assassin, quite messy stuff, what? We've been trying to track him down ever since the Intrana incident, but he's proven quite the tricky one to pin down. Curious him showing up in Ardoin. What are your plans? Sadly, very little. Until we can learn more about what he's up to, we don't have much to go on. You have nothing to fear, though. We'll find him sooner or later. Guess that's what Tiffy says about any enemy that hasn't been apprehended yet. Now, anything else you need? Can you explain the gaze of Saradomin to me? I don't really understand this gaze of Saradomin thing. Certainly. As you know, we Temple Knights are personally favored by Saradomin himself. And when I say personally favored, I don't mean that sometime off in the future he's going to buy us all a drink. He watches over each of us, and when we die, he catches us as we fall and ensures we arrive back at Falador Castle safe and sound. We usually lose some equipment when he does so, but it's a small price to pay to be hale and hearty again, what? Some lucky fellows have a similar system going already, but when they die, they spawn in that squalid little swamp village, Lumbridge. Yeah, what kind of person would want to spawn there? Certainly not me, and I never have, honest. Well, you should be glad that we offer you a step up, then. Falador is clearly a far superior town to spend your time in. Was there something else you wanted to ask good old Tiffy? I will say, do you have any jobs for me? Sorry, old bean, but we are still in the process of organizing. I'm sure that we will have something for you soon, so please feel free to check back later. Anything else I can do for you in the meantime? Goodbye. Okay, so that's that NPC. Let's see. Let's go to the White Knight's castle, because I think we'll find a number of knights there, and some people we can talk to about Saradomin as well. Okay, running into the castle courtyard, and there's a squire here. Let's talk to the squire. Hello, friend. Many thanks for all of your help. Ivan never even realized it was a different sword, and I still have my job. I'm glad the new sword worked out all right. And let's examine a white knight proselyte, and let's talk to Cerebral. Hello. I'm going to say, who are you? I'm Cerebral of the White Knights and Taskmaster for the Falador Achievement Diary. Okay, then I'm just asking about the Achievement Diary. I've already talked to the NPCs in the room to the east after the Wild Gothic Sleeps quest, so I'm not going to talk to them again today, but I'm going to see who else is here in this castle we can talk to. Oh, Sir Magus is still trapped in that cage since that quest, though. That's nice. Let's talk to Serenity. This one white knight has a green pommel instead of what's it called on top of your head? The, kind of ponytail coming out of a helmet? That one just says a white knight acolyte. Okay, talking to Serenity. What's that, young one? What can I do for you? Oh, and this person I think looks so much like Larry David. Both their face and the glasses they wear. I'm going to say, I don't know, what can you do for me? Do you have a family crest? I keep track of every Gielinor family, so I might be able to find yours. I'm also something of a painter. If you've met any important persons or visited any nice places, I could paint them for you. Alright, I think we'll leave it there. And I'm going to climb up this staircase. Oh, there was an ambassador in a jail cell, but up the staircase is surviving. I say hello. He says, greetings, traveler. I'm going to say, why are there so many knights in this city? We are the White Knights of Falador. We are the most powerful order of knights in the land. We are helping the King Valence rule the kingdom as he's getting old and tired. Okay, and that's it for that dialogue. Let's go back downstairs, try to find a way to get over to this jail cell where there's an ambassador nearby. Going over here. Talk to Ambassador Spanfibble. Who looks to be a gnome. It's all very bright round here, isn't it? Well, it is the White Knight's castle. I think it would all look better in a nice dark green. At least then I wouldn't be squinting all the time. Yes, but then they'd have to become the Dark Green Knights. Doesn't really have the same ring to it. Bah, humans have no sense of style. Okay, so that is that dialogue finished. I don't know why this... Yeah, these jail... Oh, they're like torture cells, because there's torture racks in them, and the doors are open, so... So that's why there's, people inside them. Climbing up the staircase to the roof. And... Oh, I thought there was someone up here I could talk to. I guess not. But there is ceramic vase. Just on the previous level. Hello, ceramic. Hello, friend. Well, Drifteray, now that you are a white knight, I expect you should be out there hunting black knights for us. Can you explain the white knight honor system again? Sadly, we are not as rich as we once were, and there are many white knights who foolishly lose their combat equipment. We do not think it is fair to make a profit from our brethren, so we will sell you equipment at cost and rebuy it at the same cost, but we will only sell equipment to those we consider responsible enough to wield it correctly. By killing black knights, you will increase your reputation with us. By killing white knights, we will obviously think less of you. You can check your white knight reputation level by looking at your quest journal for the wanted quest, or Survivin will let you know what level you are at when you go to purchase equipment. Survivin can be found in Falador Castle, and he will sell you any equipment appropriate to your reputation level. Have fun and go kill some black knights for me. Okay, Amik, thanks for explaining. Okay. Well, I think that's probably it for the White Knight Castle in Falador. I think it would be good to go over to the monastery, the Edgeville Monastery, so I'm going to go to the GE and grab my combat bracelet, because that's a way to teleport right there. And I'm teleporting to the monastery. And we can talk to the monk, just one of the generic monks here. Greetings, traveler. Isn't this place built a bit out of the way? We like it that way, actually. We get disturbed less. Oh, okay, that's the same thing the monk on Entrana said. Talk to the monk again, and I can say, how can I get further into the monastery? You'll need to talk to Abbot Langley about that. He's usually to be found walking the halls of the monastery. Okay, so let's go talk to Abbot Langley. Greetings, traveler. Oh, I don't actually have an option for talking about that. Maybe I've already unlocked it. So we climb up, and then we can talk to Brother Jared. I can say, what can you do to help a bold adventurer like myself? I can tell you about holy symbols or the skill cape of prayer. Tell me about holy symbols. If you have a silver star, which is the holy symbol of Saradomin, then I can bless it. Then if you are wearing it, it will help you when you are praying. And the other option was just me saying, praise be to Saradomin. Yes, praise he who brings life to this world. Okay. I feel like in this game, Saradominists are like an analog for Christians, and the Samarakians are like an analog for like Satanists, and Gathixians are like an analog for like pagans. Okay, so I just searched this bookcase back down the ladder, and I got a prayer book, which I have looked at before, but I'm going to read it now. Okay, so it talks about the different prayers. Prayer of deliverance from poisons, being the full and proper prayer against the morbidities of the flesh caused by venoms and potions of both a natural and mystical origin. Take up your blessed symbol of Saradomin, cast in silver, hang it about thy neck where all may see it and thus know of your devotion. Pray in a loud, clear voice to Saradomin for relief from that which ails you. Appropriate calls for aid should be accompanied by a sacrifice of prayer energy with deadlier venoms requiring a greater sacrifice. Should the supplicant lack piety, they will not be cured. Should they possess a measure of piety equal or even greater than that which assails them, the poison will be replaced, reduced, or even cured, while a like amount of prayer energy will be taken to do this. Be wary. Should the supplicant only partially remove the venom through the application of prayer, their body must still bear the brunt of its wickedness. Also, and then in parentheses it says, the rest of the book seems to have been vandalized, charred, and slightly bled upon. So that's the only entry in the prayer book? Okay. And I can also recite prayers from this book, but I need to be wearing a blessed symbol of Saradomin for the prayer to work. Okay, so let's go do that. I think I did everything I could around the monastery. Let's just double check by going in north. Oh, there's another bookcase here. Don't find anything I'd ever want to read. Oh, there's another NPC up north, Brother Althric. Very nice rose bushes you have here, I say. Yes, it has taken me many long hours in this garden to bring them to this state of near perfection. Nice. It is a nice garden. So, let's go to the bank and get a holy symbol and then recite prayers from the book. Holy symbol, wear it, and recite prayer. You recite the prayer even though you are unpoisoned. And okay, so you need that book to cure poison. Got it. Okay. Well, I'm going to put that in my books tab that I use for things acquired during cozy old school RuneScape lore. And then, let's see. So we did Falador, we did the Wizard's Tower, we did Entrana, we did the Edgevale Monastery. Let's go talk to Drezel at Paterdomus. I think there's a fast way there, too. Yes, Fairy Ring CKS. Okay, I'll get my lunar staff and let you know when I'm there. Okay, so we are just west of Canifis, running up to Paterdomus Temple. Oh, there's a monk out here. They keep walking around. I'm trying to look at their name. Hylik Mina. Okay. Hello, friend. What can I do for you? Can you tell me why you're here? Of course. These mercenaries are here waiting for someone to take them down to Berderot. They want to do their bit against the vampires. I hold some items for these good-hearted souls so that the guide can be recompensed when the job is done. Okay, thanks. So that's for the temple trekking minigame that I've done before. I'm going to open the trapdoor into the temple, climb down, and talk to Drezel. Ivan told me about this business with Venescula. You'd all better be careful out there. Could you tell me more about the 7 priestly warriors? Well, at this point you should be no stranger to their tale, though I understand the desire for a recap. During the Fourth Age, the vampire forces of Loerniel Dracan attempted to invade Misthalin. They would have succeeded were it not for the 7 priestly warriors. The warriors were the ones to bless the River Salve and build this temple, ensuring that Misthalin would be forever safe from the evils of Mauritania. Sadly, all 7 of them fell in the final battle against Dracan. They are now buried here in this very mausoleum. I don't know if that's completely true. You talk of the suggestion that Avandis Sirges isn't actually buried with the others, don't you? That isn't a conversation I wish to have. Fair enough. Anything else you can tell me about the warriors? Not really. You might learn more in the library below, but I'd be cautious of believing every word in those books. Okay, thanks, Drezel. Well, let's go down there. Here's the library. I don't see anything I can search. There's one. Okay. I think I searched this in one of the quests, one of the vampire quests. Okay, the book called The Sleeping Seven. Oh, and I got 2 more books from another bookcase. Histories of the Hollow Land and Modern-Day Mauritania. Are these even on the book list on the wiki? Oh, yeah, okay, so I already have them in my bookshelf, but now let's just read them. The Sleeping Seven. Though little is known of the Fourth Age, especially in the land now known as Mauritania, some small details of that dark time do yet remain. This work is as complete an account as can be mustered by this author. Its purpose is to straighten the times and tales of those would-be heroes buried under Paterdomus. The datum here are vague at best, and no truer gauge could hardly best be sought. The least hope of this lowly author herein lies to recount what small morsels of truth remain in the minds of those that still live, and entreat those very same to paper, lest they forever be forgotten. With my rudimentary abilities I have prevailed to update the place names of those dark times, and instead use those which are in common use, so as to give meaning, where previously there was confusion. Kind of a long intro. 8 centuries and a score into the history of our land, there came a darkness which fell about the land once called Hollowvale. The queen of that sad time, an Icene of once formidable power, became to be deposed by his dark self and his hordes. Against all her considerable will, she was forced to kneel and attend his dark self, in order that she might save her loving husband, Acertes. The darkness which his dark self brought with him at that time writhed through Hollow Vale and wrought its way ever onwards into Misthalin. Though many men did slow its passage to what is now called Varrock, none did manage to halt its progress proper, and many brave warriors so employed did die a most painful and lingering death. Fearing the darkness would sweep Saradomin's glory from the land, some odd collection of priestly advocates and pious followers of brave virtue stood forwards to steal the hearts of the village fighters and town militias, the last defense against the evil now fresh from Hollow Vale, and from that time till now called Mauritania. This collection of priestly valor did cast Saradomin's blessings upon the untrained and fearful fighters of Varrock and those of her outside villagers. This did raise bravery, courage, and righteousness in the hearts of these brave young Misthalin knights, as at long last it came the time that the rabble of the Misthalin defense started to bite, and the tide of evil from Mauritania became smashed and torn on their pikes and staves. All caught courage from the 7 priestly warriors whose names shall be disgorged forthwith. 1. Iriandel Keistlin, a true leader of the Holy Seven, though rarely ever a footfall in front of Evandis, who was ever eager to smash the evil and force the tide back into Mauritania. 2. Sarl Dunnigan of Edgeville, a pious yet brutal man. And wielding his mace he led many fighters on skirmishes to keep the evil from spreading and outflanking the group. 3. Friar Twiblick of Taverley, a devout man of worship whose brave talks and uncommon speeches raised the spirits and abilities of men above that of mortals. So they fought, as though Guthix himself were at their side, redressing the balance that his dark self had spoiled. 4. Dirigal Templeton of Falador, a great oak of a man, so well imbued with Saradomin's will and martial ability that he commanded people's respect and admiration, and they eagerly followed him into battle. His booming voice rallied men in times of fierce fighting, this allowing them to regroup and focus their brutal, savage violence and forced capitulation from the writhing, cowardly, evil hordes. 5. Evandis Sirges of Lumbridge, a deft and well-skilled man of unusual appearance, he held a most bizarre control over some powerful minions of Dracon's horde. A rod or staff helped imbue him with such power. Then, with the aid of a Guthix serum, he would turn the vile entity, oftentimes destroying the creature instantly, reverting it to an original incarnation, or worst of all, enraging it greatly, much to the chagrin of his holy brothers. 6. Airsail the Pious of Remington, a woman of such noble and just nature that she commanded the will of the Misthalinian fighters high and right, ever at the front of battle displaying courage and aiding those in need. 7. Essiander Gar of Draenor, a fearless woman even at such a worthy age. It was said that her indignation at the evil scourge was enough to make the most cowardly of men in her ranks act like lions in the fiercest fighting. And with the 7 priestly warriors all together, committed to this act, they brought the furious intent of Saradomin's will and forced the evil tide from Mauritania back into those very same dark lands. The fighting became fiercest at Silveria, and they stood side by side to prevent the evil from entering Misthalin again. The very spot where Paterdomus now stands is near the final battleground for the saving of Misthalin. The temple stands even now as a contentious reminder to those evil minions who would seek to wreak havoc in the land of Saradomin. As the priestly brothers and sisters fought on, some of them cast blessings into the salve and sealed it in the vengeful power of Saradomin, who would act as Misthalin's guardian against his dark self. Upon this foundation of holy power Paterdomus was built. Within its holy eminence the saintly remains of the 7 priestly warriors, it is believed, now rest. However, there is sometimes discord about one such burial. It was through happenstance that this author became aware of a document which I shall herein duplicate without any additions or omissions. It is said to be written by the brothers-in-arms of Evandis Sirges, the Ever-Eager. The resting place of Evandis Sirges is easily missed for its simpleness and trivial appearance. In the midst of Mortmire lies a long cavern running from northwest to southeast, with 3 caverns along the southwestern wall and 2 caverns on the northeastern. Evandis was put to rest in the smaller of the 2 caverns along the northeastern wall with his worldly possessions. Appropriate preparations were made to ensure the safety of his mortal remains, and the cavern that formed his tomb was sealed up. I, Georgius Furius, along with his many other brothers in arms, did score marks into the sides of the wall next to the cavern in order to mark it out for later discovery and to deter possible intruders by making the marks look like those of some fearsome beast. Though I have made but preliminary and trepidatious journeys into Mauritania thus far, the proposed location of Evander's primitive tomb has evaded me. It is with the author's most delicate and humble of suggestions that this tomb be cast from the reader's mind, as it is, in all likelihood, a trap made by evil minions to beguile the unwary into Mauritania. Okay, now that we read The Sleeping Seven, let's skip the other two books, because they're both about Mauritania, and maybe we could do a lore episode on Mauritania sometime. But this episode's about the lore of Saradomin, so let's just get rid of these books. And head back up the ladder. And now I want to double check if there's anyone else we want to talk to today. Let's talk to the Zealot near the Haunted Mine. That would be a good place to check out. So we're going to run back out of Paterdomus. I already did the Haunted Mine quest, but it's worth it for this episode, I think, to just check in with the Zealot and see what they might have to say about Saradomin. So we're going to teleport to the island using the fairy ring on the island in the River Salve, cross the stepping stone, and run south through the swamp. Oh, I fell off the stepping stone. I have to try it again. Yeah, that happens here. 6 damage. There we go, I got across. Gonna run south. We're almost there. I think right near this quest marker is where the Zealot's gonna be. Okay, talk to Zealot. What powers does the Salve Amulet have? The Zealot says, from what I have heard, they would be put to best use in the slaying of the evil undead, the zombies and skeletons that walk this land. Thanks for the tip. And I've done it. I've managed to recreate the Salve Amulet that you spoke of. Zealot says, that hardly seems likely. There's no way you could have made it to the bottom of the mines without the key, which is in my possession. I could admit to pickpocketing the Zealot. I could say I found another way down, and I'll just say, fine, don't believe me. Okay, so that's the Zealot who has brown robes and a symbol of Saradomin on their chest, and I want to check out what King Rold has to say in the Varrock Castle. Then I want to look at some of the animals associated with Saradomin. Then I think we'll check some items. And that'll probably take us to the end here. Alright, opening the door to King Rold. Talk to King Rold. Greetings, Your Majesty. Yes, citizen, did you need something? Not really. You'll have to excuse me then. I'm very busy as I have a kingdom to run. Okay. So, let's check out the animals. Lions is the first one. Oh, I can't get there. That looks like that's in the, God Wars dungeon, but I'll tell you what the examine text says. It says Defender of the Faithful. Okay, owls. Where are we going to find owls? Hallowed Sepulchre in Darkmire. I also can't go there. And rabbits. I know where a rabbit is. I can get there by going over to Edgeville. And then unicorns and wolves. We already checked out wolves in the last episode, so let's just make sure to check out a unicorn this episode before we look at some items. Running across the Grand Exchange now. There's a bunny here named Luna. That's a specific one. A cute bunny rabbit. Where else can we find rabbits? At the air altar. Okay, I'm going to use my Ring of the Elements to teleport there once I get back to the bank. Let's go to the air altar now. And looking for some rabbits. Animals associated with Saradomin. I am not seeing any rabbits here. That's too bad. Maybe it's to the south a bit. Okay, I think I'll have to look somewhere else for rabbits. Apparently there are rabbits in Prifddinas. I will get my teleport crystal. And teleport right there. Okay, there we go. I found a rabbit. Examine rabbit. A cute bunny rabbit. The same thing as Luna. Okay, next we need to find a unicorn, and I can find one just outside of Varrock at the mine. At the southeast mine. So let's head over there. Almost there. And almost to the unicorn. I can see it. Now I'm clicking examine. A horse with a horn, it says. Alright, let's go to the bank, pick up some items associated with Saradomin, and wrap this episode up. So the holy symbol I am wearing on my neck already, can I examine it from there? Yes, I can examine it. It says, a blessed holy symbol of Saradomin. It is shaped like a four-pointed star. I also have the book that becomes the holy book, if you fill it with pages. So I need the first, third, and fourth, so let me get those. Okay, so I have all the pages. I can just use them on the book to put them in. And now we have a holy book. If we examine it, it says, the Holy Book of Saradomin. I can wield it, and I can read it. Oh, but... Okay, if you have it equipped, then reading it is the same as preaching, so I'm going to preach wedding ceremony. In the name of Saradomin, protector of us all, I now join you in the eyes of Saradomin. Preach last rites. Thy cause was false, thy skills did lack. See you in Lumbridge when you get back. do blessings. Go in peace in the name of Saradomin. May his glory shine upon you like the sun. And I can do just generic preach. The currency of goodness is honor. It retains its value through scarcity. This is Saradomin's wisdom. Well, I gotta say, that was an underwhelming book. I just mean, I did not like it nearly as much as the Prayers in Guthix's book, the Book of Balance. Well, that's okay. I feel like Saradomin's kind of basic. Alright. Let me just double check. Are there any other Saradomin items that I want to look at today? I don't think so. I think that's going to do it. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of Cozy Old School RuneScape Lore. I want to thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me here while we explored some scattered lore of Saradomin. And I hope you have such a good evening and that you sleep so well, and I'm going to say goodbye and good night for now.